You are now listening to Vigilantes Radio, presented by the Only One Media Group. This is the people's choice for quality interviews, celebrities and special guests. Hosted by Demetrius Dinny Reynolds. Call in to join the mix at 701-801-9813. For the complete archive of episodes, visit onlyonemediagroup.com and be sure to like us on Facebook at Vigilantes Radio. We welcome all. Enjoy the show. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host, Demetrius Houdini Black Reynolds. Enjoy the show.
Yo, what is going on? Well, welcome to another awesome episode of Vigilantes Radio. I'm your host, Dini. So there are over 30,000 of you guys in our chat room right now, on the phone lines, Google Hangouts, Skype, the browser, all of the plugins that we use to run these episodes. You guys are filling them up, and I appreciate that greatly. You have no idea. We have a very special guest for tonight's show, so you definitely want to stick around for that. What do you do when nobody is looking? Do you work just as hard? Do you remain just as reliable? Are you just as responsible? Are you just as considerate of others? True success depends on what you do when nobody is looking, because the things you do when nobody is looking are driven by what you expect of yourself, and whatever you expect of yourself is what you will become. If you cheat when nobody's looking, you're cheating your own destiny. When you focus only on what you can get by with, all you do is get by. Think about it. The seeds of achievement are sown when nobody is looking. The Olympic athlete whose gold medal performance is watched by millions spent years in training while nobody watched. The millionaire entrepreneur with a successful business spent years working into the late night while nobody watched. Nobody's watching. Now is the time to be your best and rise above the crowd. Take that from me, dini-mussolini. That is my word, and the word is bond.
You're live in the mix. Let's get this started.
Yo, hello, and welcome to another awesome episode of Inside the Music, or the book, or film, or even the business, where we dive into the minds of the people who create these marvelous things. It feels so good to be back with you guys once again. Big ups to my folks who are indigos, crystalline, or the starseeds, for my Vigilantes audience family, for my hooligans, and shout out to my people who are vegetarian or vegans. If you're in the struggle like me, we are averaging over 37,000 live listeners, and we've been at this for 5 solid years. I appreciate to all you guys who've been rocking with the kid on this journey, and we are still evolving, baby. It is all because of you, most definitely. We are the people who have dedicated their lives to music, spirituality, business, literature, art, films, and research in every aspect. And we want to allow you an opportunity to tell your story. Man, we've had celebrities on our show, from Grammy Award-winning artists, nominees, to actors, comedians, CEOs, technology revolutionaries, visual artists, from authors to professors, and vampires. Or people who think they're vampires. It doesn't matter who you are or where you come from. Come on our show and talk to me. So check it out to book your interview or to appear on my other show called Skeptics. Email me at vradio@onlyonemediagroup.com, and that's V as in Victor. We hope to get the stories behind these unique people and give them a chance to tell their truth to us and the universe. That is Vigilantes Radio sole purpose. You know the number to dial, 701-801-9813. Share that number with your buddy right now and tell them to tune in to connect with us or our guests, or you can hop in the mix directly from our website, which is onlyonemediagroup.com. Right from the homepage, you can slap that go live button and you'll be here live in the mix and in the chat room with all of us. So feel free to shoot over some questions to ask our guests while they are here, but only as time permits. Sometimes my guests and I talk entirely too much. And as always, all episodes are available for free download, and you can grab them from either Spreaker.com/only1mediagroup, iTunes, Player.fm, YouTube, any app from the Google Play or iTunes Store, or over at our website. And that goes for every single episode that we've ever aired.
Well, tonight's interview is the Lionfish Interview, and again, I'm your host, Dini. We are the people who have dedicated their weekdays and nights to music, books, movies, news, business ventures, sometimes conspiracies, and just talk in general. For my incredible promotion on our new Facebook page, by the way, make sure you like us there if you're scrolling on Facebook right now. I know a lot of you guys are. Or to our interviews and the Inside the Music series right here on Vigilantes Radio, or our show called Skeptics, where we talk about money, music business, relationships, spirituality, those kind of things, you know. We spend each and every day giving our maximum effort to create a vibrant indie and professional community for all creative minds that coexist in this beautiful artistic world. Our special guest tonight is the Lionfish-band, so let's go ahead and bring them on. Hey guys, you're now live in the mix with all of us. How's it going?
Hey, how you doing?
How are you?
Hey, doing great.
Thanks so much for having us on. My name is Robbie Schwartz. I'm with my buddy Chris Finale via phone.
Looking forward to chatting with you guys a little bit tonight.
Right on. All right. So we have 2 out of 4.
Correct.
Yep. Cool deal. All right. So, guys, welcome again, and I definitely appreciate you guys for spending a little time with old Dini here to chat about the thing that you guys love to do and the things I love to listen to, right? Music.
Great. It's our pleasure.
Yeah. So, guys, it all has to start somewhere, and I hope I have this right, but, you know, you guys have to make your first step towards music, or you made your first steps towards music, while attending college, correct? Or maybe it happened before that.
As a band, we started in college. We all went to Fairfield U in Connecticut, and that's where we met. We were all musicians before then, but doing our own thing, and then that was the first time we got together.
Wow. So, fate is a very funny thing, right?
Yeah. You could say that.
Yeah, I mean, you guys could have chose to go to any other college in the country.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Absolutely.
Or chose a particular major that would have kind of changed the course of life. But here you guys are, the Lionfish.
Yeah.
Yeah. 6, 7 years later.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I think about that frequently. Very lucky to have ended up, where we landed all at the same time in the same place.
Yeah. Have you guys wrote about it yet?
Not per se. I think most of what we write about is looking outwards, maybe. A little less looking in at how lucky we were to land it up. But maybe that'll be our next song.
Right.
I like that.
So you guys are at this point with the new project, You-Wont-Keep-Me-Down.
Mm-hmm.
What number does this make?
This is our second studio album.
Second studio. Are you feeling the pressure?
Yeah. Not pressure per se. We're just, always trying to keep growing musically and try to keep it new and fresh and exciting. And I think we were able to do that successfully on the second album. And, you can listen for yourself and be the judge of that. But I think hopefully, the third album will continue to do that as well, and the fourth after that.
Yeah, it's all about growth and evolving, right? Change.
Exactly.
Yeah. So tell me, what direction, sound-wise, do you plan or hope to take the band into?
So, we kind of want to just continue growing, continue meeting people. One of the nice things about our band is that we come from a very wide range of influences. Across a lot of different genres, across a lot of different generations. So kind of just the more music you get yourself exposed to, we're all pretty active in going out and meeting new musicians and hearing new music, and the kind of more people we meet, the more that will evolve, absolutely. So,
right.
We kind of just keep at it. We've been spending a lot of time right now, focusing on this album. We're trying to get it out in front of as many people as we can. We're really proud of it. It seems to be well received so far, and that's really encouraging because we put a lot of work into it. So we're hitting the ground running with that and looking for ways to grow as we go on.
Okay, cool. So let's back up a little bit. I don't know about you guys, but I like backstories. I like, to build, the anticipation or to see where everything is going and find out where it came from. So let's start there at the beginning of your journey, individual journeys until the point where you sat across from each other in class or left the class or,
skipped class or whatever. No.
Skip class. Yeah, skip class, that happens in college. Tell about that, yeah. Let us in.
Well, you know what? For me, individually, I'm the keyboardist and lead singer and primary songwriter for the band. So, I started taking piano lessons when I was 6. My dad was a musician. He's a dentist. He's currently our lead guitarist, actually. He was not in college with us, obviously, when we got together. But, I grew up in a pretty musical house, which is great. And so, while I was doing my classical lessons, I was also playing, The Who and the Beatles and stuff like that with my dad, which kind of shaped where I, ended up through, musically through high school and bands and stuff like that. And then eventually where we are now as a band.
Right.
Chris, I don't know if you want to talk about
yes. I mean, I had a similar but different experience, I guess, starting out. I didn't have quite the same, musical household, I guess you could say, but I kind of spent a lot of time just grinding, by myself, kind of learning as much songs as I could, and I was fortunate to have some friends growing up that we kind of, got together and played and got better, and then when I got to school, it just kind of clicked. I met these guys, so just a fun little backstory, like you said. I'm a year older than Rob and the other guys in the band, so we all played jazz together. We met each other playing jazz in college, and we sat down for the first rehearsal, and he was great. I went up to him after rehearsal, and he was a scared little kid, and it was only a little more,
big man over there,
comfortable,
sophomore.
only a little more comfortable in my own shoes, I guess you could say. But I just went up and said, "Hey, man, you're great." And he said, "Thanks, you too." And I said, "Let's go get dinner and hang out and chat." And just went from there. It was just a little thing, but then from there we kind of just started playing together in a lot of groups, school-run groups and things like that. And then after a little bit, we kind of started branching out on our own and doing our own thing.
Yeah. Chris had actually never heard me sing before, and then one day he randomly asked me, he was like, "Hey, you sing, right?" I was like, "Yeah, kind of," and then he was with another project at the time that needed a singer for a gig they were doing. He was like, "Well, you want to come sing with us?" I was like, "Sure, why not?" And that was the start of our extracurricular, I guess, musical activities. Because Chris had the balls to ask me if I could sing. I was like, "Yeah, good thing he did."
Right. So how long did it take to form the Lionfish?
I'd say when we were starting to play shows under that, as the Lionfish, probably about a little under a year after that initial, conversation.
Yeah. Because we had to suss out the scene and try to figure out who was going to play with us and, what kind of music we were going to be interested in making and, see what kind of potential we had. And
a lot of jams in the storage closet in one of the dorms to start out.
Cool deal.
Yeah.
So you guys play jazz. That is quite a beast.
Yeah. Well, the band is a rock band. It's like a blues rock band, but we all have jazz backgrounds too. So that was initially how we met in the jazz band, and we still do jazz gigs occasionally. But You Won't Keep Me Down. It's not a jazz album.
It's a really, really good musical background to have. Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
You could definitely see the influence in some of the songs. We like to take it and make it our own. We have a lot of rock influences, and that's really what we're going for. But being able to play jazz and think like a jazz musician really adds a lot in any kind of genre that you're playing.
Yeah.
Definitely. All right. Well, I was in the marching band for at least 7 years, and then went to college. Yeah.
What'd you play?
Trumpet.
Nice. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, trumpet. Elvis plays trumpet.
Well, it's nice until I joined the jazz, or I took up jazz class, and like the first couple of weeks, I was contemplating life. Like, what am I doing here? These skills are just. Oh my. Yeah, so I never went back to jazz class. Ended up changing my major, and that's that.
Well, it can be definitely intimidating at first, and I think we're lucky that we all sort of found each other and are able to translate our interests in jazz and our experience in jazz into the sort of jazz blues rock thing that we do, because the jazz world is a really intense world. I go to grad school at a conservatory, and the guys in the jazz program there are just crazy how intense they are and how good they are. So definitely a lot of respect for that world and that scene.
Definitely, man. I just have to show my admiration for those with jazz and blues background, because not everybody can pull that off.
Oh, well, thanks. Yeah. It's a cool scene. It's a nice flavor to be able to add to whatever you're working on, too.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So, the title, You Want to Keep Me Down. Where did that come from? Or where are you saying?
You Won't Keep Me Down. That's the first song on the album. Personally, I kind of go back and forth between being sort of overwhelmed by the world, and all the sort of craziness of it, and mm-hmm. that, and trying, on the opposite end, trying to meet it with a sort of, defiance and a sort of confidence, and the goal to not let it get the best of me. And so, when I wrote the song You Won't Keep Me Down, that's definitely what I was feeling. I was definitely in more of a defiant mood, and trying to really capture that. And I thought that really what it's about is in the face of all the hate that's out there in the world, having strength to stand up for love, in spite of it. That's where that's coming from.
Nice. All right. So just because I'm a bit of a geek, I thought of this question.
Yeah, too.
Cool. So then you guys know about the alternate universe. The one where there's another version of you running around who made all the opposite choices that you made in life. Maybe they're superheroes, who knows? But what would that version of you look like?
A lot skinnier than the real me.
Yep. I'll go ahead and second that.
Go ahead, Rob.
I thought at one point in my life that I was going to be a doctor. Funny enough, I was pre-med in college, and I was a bio major and all that stuff. So, in some alternate universe, I probably saw that through, and I'm in med school somewhere. So I'm probably not nearly as happy as I am, as a musician.
Paging doctor.
Yeah, exactly.
Mine, I thought about this, I gave a little thought to this question here, and scarily, almost a real thing, but I'd be in the house in the woods somewhere. I would be a recluse. I'd be writing jazz music and leaving the house to go get a burrito once in a while, toothpaste when you need it. But,
yeah.
So,
yeah. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's nice to, I think I made the right choice, hanging out with the guys, and we really kind of took it in a good spot.
I'm glad you're not a recluse in the middle of the woods and, in the middle of nowhere or whatever.
Right. Sometimes that's how it goes, though, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, you-wont-keep-me-down. What did it teach about yourself personally?
Sure. So, from a personal, separating myself from the band a little bit, I learned a lot about the process, of taking music that you wrote and making it into something tangible, making it something professional, how to work in the studio, and we had done that in the past. We had one other album, but we really kind of dove into it a lot harder this time around. We really wanted to make we're really proud of, and it involved a lot of other steps and a lot more time and a lot of trips into the city. I was joking around. One of the other things I learned is how to get around New York City a lot better. But for me, there's a lot of growth there personally in how to work in that type of setting. So that was really cool for me.
Yeah. I would definitely second all of that. And I think also personally, I had a great experience this time around in making the album with the band in terms of being open to collaborate. I occasionally I'm a bit of a control freak musically, as a songwriter, but this time around with the album, I really just brought in the tunes, and sort of bare bones sort of skeletons, and we really fleshed out the arrangements and everything like that as a band. And I think the result is much better than anything I could have done by myself, but also has a much more focused and sort of organic sound to it. Because one of the things I'm also learning about myself as I go through this is, sort of aesthetically and artistically and musically, I'm drawn to things, and I try to do things that feel organic, and sort of natural. And so I tried to on this project, sort of trust my initial instincts, and then sort of employ my craft, to sharpen the initial workings of my instincts, and trying not to lose sight of that initial vision, of what I wanted this song or this project or this vibe to be.
Right on. I mean, how did the end of the project feel? I mean, the dust has settled, the stop button has been pressed, the last note sung, the last guitar strum, the beat is it. It's done.
Yeah.
How did that feel?
I mean, it's never an easy thing to stop working on something, because like after we recorded everything, then, you do the mixing and the editing, and, it's a real rabbit hole that you can go down and sort of get yourself in. And, I'm sure we could spend an infinite amount of time tweaking little things, but at a certain point you have to be like, nope, this is it. This is the way it's going to sound, and it sounds great the way it does. And so, I was really proud of the band, when we were able to get to that point and really come away with something that we were proud of and felt satisfied listening to, because, you don't want to leave it to the point where you're unsatisfied with what you are, with what you have. But I think, you know, it was great to be able to get to that point, and it felt great to put in the work as a band and you know, have a goal as a band and see results as a band. And then to some extent, you know, when the recording is done and the final product is finished, really the hard part begins after that, you know, because then it's like, what are you going to do with it? You know, you're not just going to let it sit there, you know, and, you know, being in the studio and writing the music and you know, being creative, that's the fun part. That's the joy of it all. That's why we do what we do, you know, but then there's the whole other side of it that comes with it. So, and that, you know, we're still obviously in the phases of that part of it too. So it never really ends, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I get it. So, you guys are superb musicians, I suppose. You're doing all the right things with websites, live shows, marketing, press, going around shaking hands, kissing the babies, making it.
Oh, yeah.
You know? Yeah. So, as professionals, man, and that's how I view you guys, define the attitudes we must have behind creatorship.
Sure. So, I mean, as a creator, you know, you got to stay true to what you're creating. You know, you have to believe in what you're making and putting out there. Because if you're writing music and recording music and releasing music, that, you know, you need to put songs on an album. You know, you need to get something out there. You're doing yourselves and you're doing, you know, your audience and anyone that comes across your music, you're doing them a disservice. You know, you want to, as a creator, make something that you're really proud of and put the time in that it takes to get that right. And then, you know, the rest of it, the handshaking, the baby kissing, you know, all the shows, all that good stuff, you know, that is easier when it's something that you're proud of, and it's you know, it's easier to get out there and really try to get this music out in front of people when it's something that, you know, you also like to hear. You know, it doesn't get old to you.
Yeah, I think really commitment to the vision, you know, behind the project is super important, and you know, not allowing yourself to get sort of sidetracked, because you know, musically I tend to be a little scatterbrained at times, and you know, I compose some classical stuff, I do jazz stuff, and then I also do, you know, this rock stuff with the Lionfish. So, you know, musically I can be a little all over the place. So I have to be able to commit to what I'm working on so I can compartmentalize sort of my creative energies, you know, for one thing, and not let myself get distracted. Or if I'm, you know, at a comfortable enough point in the project where like I'm firmly rooted in it, then I can sort of, you know, cross-pollinate, you know, with other musical ideas and thoughts that I have when I have a firm establishment and a firm, you know, grounding in what I'm going for.
Right on, yeah. So, what makes Lionfish work so well? Why do you guys get along so great? Like, what are the characteristics of each member, the working partners?
Sure. I mean, yeah. I mean, we are, you know, we're all relatively similar to, in an extent. You know, we all kind of met each other organically. We're all friends, so in that sense, it's really good. You know, but at the same time, we're all really serious about what we do. You know, we're passionate about what we're making. You know, each person takes that seriously and has a certain respect for that. You know, at the same time, though, it's, you know, we don't lose sight of the fact that we're all trying to have fun. We all have different backgrounds, musically, geographically. You know, what we do day to day, you know, outside of our music. So, you know, that kind of makes us who we are in a sense. You know, we each kind of bring our own thing to the table, but we all kind of can see eye to eye, you know, at the end of the day about what we're doing.
Right on. I like that.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying I like that.
Yeah, Chris is definitely the calm one. He's good at organizing, all of our thoughts in an efficient manner to move forward, because between the four of us, I'm a grad student at the moment. Chris is an accountant. Our drummer's a teacher. Our guitarist is a dentist, so like we can be a little all over the place. Yeah. Yeah. So, we all kind of come from, we're similar personality-wise, but we're all involved in a lot of different things other than the band, So it's nice to be able to have the different insights, brought by each one, But it's definitely important to be able to organize it all into a sort of cohesive unit of thought, So I think we're well equipped to do that because of who is in the band.
Yeah. Now, I called you guys professionals, but I didn't know you were industry professionals too. You guys fight crime on the side as well?
We keep busy, that's for sure.
You got some vigilantes going on here? That's cool, though. That is cool. Wow.
Thanks.
Very diverse industries you guys are in.
Yeah. Well, like with anything in the world of music, unless you're part of that very elite top sort of 1% who are lucky enough to be able to, make music full time, and just perform and get by, there's always got to be things going on the side to be able to make it happen. So, I think we do a good job of making it happen.
Yeah. Plus, I believe from that angle is that sometimes you need things to talk about in just everyday life in general, relatable things. Not everybody can be a musician full time. I mean, that's cool, but sometimes you kind of run out of things to talk about.
Yeah, sure. And, we also try to keep that sort of groundedness when we do, like, find ourselves in situations with, like, other musicians, and like, higher profile shows or whatever, and like bigger opportunities, we try to keep a grounded sort of, regular people attitude about everything and not, get sucked into all of the, I don't know, all of the craziness that comes with some of the lifestyles that are out there,
Right on. Yeah. Man, everybody has an angle or a thing, a brand when it comes to bands and music, signature styles. So what would you say, or would you say there's something like that in your musical catalog that's out there now that's kind of identifiable to who the Lionfish is?
Well, I think we go for a live rock band sort of aesthetic, and I think we try to get that across to our listeners, even though we record in the studio, like we record a lot of it live together, and we try to keep that energy tangible throughout everything we do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the cool things about us, I would say our style, I guess, is that, we definitely have a new sound. We have a fresh sound, but we draw from music that is, contemporary, but also from generations old. We have lots of different genres in our background, so the fact that we kind of can interpret all of that and make it our own, but also then make it something, it doesn't feel old. That's something that I'm really proud of.
Yeah, sort of synthesize all of these, generations and genres worth of music into a new voice. My favorite thing that I've heard after we play it, I've actually heard it, a couple of times, when we do our own thing, is my favorite compliment is like, I don't really know what that sounded like, or like it sounded a little bit like this and a little bit like that, but it was unique and I really liked it. I can't place it, but I really liked it. So that's kind of a cool thing, I think, that we shoot for. And then as far as stylistic things compositionally, I don't really think about specific stylistic things when I'm writing, but between all the composition I do, whether it's, Lionfish, or classical or jazz or whatever, I just try to trust my compositional instincts and let it come out as my own voice and really put all of myself into it. We talk a lot about compositional voices, and really finding your own voice. And that's the most important thing to me. I don't want to sound, and we don't want to sound like anybody else. We want to sound like us.
Definitely. But how would I be able to tell, like, I'm listening to a song that Robbie wrote it, without looking at the credits or liner notes?
Well, I think you would probably pick up on some jazzier inflections on a rock sort of form. I think, I don't know, Chris, you might have a better idea as a more
sure.
objective.
I think that's definitely that's definitely a big component of it is the blend. The blend of what we do. Robbie as a songwriter also has a really good way of getting his kind of ideology across, and it's one that is powerful. It's one that I think a lot of people should follow, and it's basically that you gotta be passionate about what you do, but you gotta love what you do, and you gotta love everybody. You gotta love you gotta take care of yourself. You gotta take care of the people around you. Love's the most important thing, and that shines through a lot in a lot of stuff that we that he writes and the stuff that we play.
Definitely. I think sometimes too that may be something for fans or an avid listener to decide as well. It's easier to pick out in hip hop because I don't want to say it's one-dimensional music, but it's pretty common to hear cadence or certain syllables being pronounced, or just the way the structure of the song is. Say, such and such wrote that. But I'm a big Jonathan Davis fan, so when I heard the Queen of the Dam soundtrack, I knew he influenced that entire soundtrack. And of course, I looked into the credits, and he pretty much produced everything and wrote a few songs for Chester Bennington and Marilyn Manson. Sorry. So things like that.
Cool. Well, and I think what's really interesting about him specifically is he's got so many different influences, from the Korn stuff, like the really heavy stuff. Like a lot of his early influences were like Jesus Christ Superstar and Duran Duran. It's kind of interesting to see how those influences sort of come out in ways you wouldn't expect.
Right. Yeah. Is that something you guys think about, like style-wise? You're setting your mark in music. Is it a conscious thought, or you just, doing the Lionfish thing and not really thinking about? A
little bit of both, probably. We're always getting out and meeting new people, learning about new people, listening to new people. It'll be, Robbie will show me a song when we're hanging out, and I'll be, I like that lick. Whatever that guy just did on the horn there or on the guitar, and we'll try to incorporate, like next time we're jamming or he's showing me a song, I'll just like play that in the song, just like kind of mess around. But then we'll kind of sometimes we'll just grow from there. It's somewhat intentional, it's somewhat organic. We try to be as organic as possible. So kind of becoming as immersed as possible in those influences and varied backgrounds kind of just helps it become more organic as you start to write the music.
Yeah, and I think when you really can sort of internalize your influences, they really come out in a much more cohesive way as a sort of synthesized voice. Like any one of the songs on the album, I could probably tell you 3 or 4 different songs or artists that, influenced how I thought about the song while I was writing it, or kind of what I was going for, and, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So, some humanism, I guess. Do you guys believe everyone deserves a second chance? And for some people, maybe a third and a fourth. You know what I mean? Can people truly change?
You know, I think there's a lot of good songs and a lot of bad songs about second chances, you know, so I don't know what that tells you, but I think, I think as you know, someone who's been offered second chances in my life after goofing and, you know, I've tried to take advantage of that. I definitely think, you know, people deserve second chances, and I think people can change, especially if they have, you know, the right people around them to help, or, you know, the right support systems, or, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, the two of us kind of as people, you know, not to put words in your mouth, Rob, but, you know, specifically, you know, we're the kind of people that like to try to help people, you know, pick them up versus push them down. And, you know, that's what it's all about. You know, that's kind of how you get through the human experience.
Right, yeah. Right. So what's next for you guys? Any live shows coming up?
Yeah, we've got, you know, so we're local to Fairfield, Connecticut and the New York City area. So throughout sort of the next couple of months, we've got a couple of shows in Connecticut, a couple of shows in New York. Our next gig is Friday, December 7th. We'll be doing an original showcase in Norwalk, Connecticut. Then after that, like a week after that, we're back at one of our favorite restaurants that we normally play at in Connecticut. And then the week after that, we're at a brewery in Connecticut. And so we're keeping busy throughout December and January, which is nice. Get back in the city too a couple of times. Yeah,
we're coming out of a really busy October, November also. We just played as part of the Fueled by Lagunitas original music showcase in New York City, which that was a really cool experience.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
So that was great, trying to get out in the city and just meet some new people, and we're hoping to get back there December 29th. So, you know, we're keeping busy. We're really trying to get the songs out in front of people as much as we can.
Right.
You know, we're starting in New York and New Haven and Stamford and Connecticut and stuff like that. You know, we're trying to just grow as much as we can, get it out there to as many people as possible.
Definitely. Any Christmas caroling with the Lionfish going on?
Well, we actually sometimes we will do like charity stuff. You know, we try to be involved in the community as well, and we'll play some shows for some local charities and things like that. So we do have some Christmas carols. We've been doing a couple you know, shows annually, and this year we're kind of ironing out the details on that yet. But you could find us doing some Christmas carols here and there.
Yeah, nice. And you know, last year we did a special on CBS that was aired on Christmas Eve. About Fairfield U, and we were featured on it. You know, being alumni, and you know, so we were playing on it, and so because of copyright laws and stuff, you know, they were only able to put like public domain songs and stuff like that, or any original stuff. So I also ended up writing an original Christmas tune for that. So we do have one original Christmas tune under our belts as well, but you won't find it on this album.
I mean, will that lead to a Christmas album in the future? Maybe.
I wouldn't say I'm closed off to it. I wouldn't say it's high on my, you know, priority list, but, you know, sure, I like Christmas music. Why not?
Yeah, you guys can like wear the funny sweaters and, you know, hold a cup of, you know, cocoa or eggnog, and it's all cheerfully Christmas.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
Oh man, yeah. Man, don't mind me. My imagination is weird. Don't mind.
Not at all, man. Well, you know, everybody ends up doing one, I feel like, right? Like John Legend just released a Christmas album, which swings like hell. It's great, you know? But John Legend's killing, so. Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah. All right, guys. After the music break, it'll be time for our usual tradition. It is called the hot seat. That's right. We're going to heat up their seats and make them sweat a bit. But they're professionals. They're good at this kind of stuff. Our fans love this part of the segment, of course, along with the actual interview, but the audience will get to hear them provide us with some vocals. Maybe they like poetry. Maybe they are into inspirational speeches, spoken word, freestyle raps, jokes, stories, live instruments, The choice is theirs. You never know what these creative minds and vessels will produce in the spotlight. And tonight, we'll find out if the Lionfish have what it takes to be put on the spot, a test of their true artistry, and maybe even some hidden talents. But for right now, we have the Lionfish. She Lifts Me Up, and we'll be right back.
A cup of coffee in bed, notebook by my side. And she just watches me, her love she cannot hide. She doesn't know that this song will be for her, and how she makes the bad days go by like a blur. And I'll show her my love each and every day. She lifts me up, she lifts me up. Love's like sunshine on a cold and rainy day. The shadows in my head she pierces like a ray. The little things she does, they take away my blues. The colors of my world are always hers to choose. And I'll show her my love each and every day. She lifts me up, she lifts me up, she lifts me up, she lifts me up. She makes me wanna be all that she deserves. Oh, she lifts me up, she lifts me up, she lifts me up, oh, she lifts me up. 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 Oh, she lifts me up. She lifts me up, oh, she lifts me up and 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 up. Oh, she lifts me up, oh, she lifts me up, oh, she lifts me up, oh, she lifts me up. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Good Lord, good God, you know she lifts me up, she lifts me up, she lifts me up. Oh, she lifts me up. She lifts me up. She lifts me, she lifts me, she lifts me, she lifts me. Oh, she lifts me up.
All right, we are back. That was the Lionfish with their song, She Lifts Me Up. Everything, that's right, everything about that song is absolutely perfect. Man, wonderful, wonderful dynamics there. Why go to Mars? Well, the fascinating pictures and information that came back from the Mars Pathfinder, it captivated, the imagination of the world since 1997, since it, ventured out there into the vast spaciness, weirdness of our galaxy. And yet, so many people are asking why and what good was spending all of that money to visit another planet. There's so many needs here on Mother Earth. Of what practical use is it to explore new worlds? Will we learn a lot of useful things from Mars? Perhaps live there one day? I don't know. But the most important things we learn are the things we learn in order to get there in the first place. The primary value of exploration lies in the challenge itself. The reason people climb mountains is not so they can, be at the peak and look down and say, "Oh, ye small people, look at me, king of the hill." No pun intended. But the reason people climb mountains is for the challenge, the learning, the self-discovery, and the discipline involved in getting up to the top. Those things are more valuable than any mountain vista could ever be. The very nature of exploration is such that we could not know in advance what it will bring us. We explore because of what it makes us. We seek the challenge that exploration sets before us, and we know that opportunity always comes from conquering challenges. Maybe that would have worked for me back in college when I tried out for jazz and contemplated life decisions at that moment. I said, no, I'll be a school teacher instead. Yeah. And then once I was handed my degree, oh, nope, I'm going into business. And here we are today, right? Well, a few more life decisions, life changes happen. But that's just me. I'm a Gemini. Very sporadic, and I act on every single idea that I have. I think they're all genius, so hey, don't blame me. It's just the way my mind is set up, and it's the way it works, right? Okay, but anyway, why go to Mars? Because it was so hard to get there. Why attempt any goal? Because it's a challenge to get to the end result, And that goes for anything that you do, any industry that you're in, any goal that you set for yourself. New Year's is coming up, and I know a lot of empty resolutions are coming into play. It's just a fad thing to do, to look cool. Say, hey, I'm going to do this and this and this and this and this and this. And that's cool and all. But the challenge is, will you hold yourself accountable to complete those tasks, to reach your end goal? And, in the process, self-discovery, exploration is definitely involved. Take that from me, dini-mussolini. That is my word, and word is bond. But for right now, let's bring back the guys of the moment, Lionfish. You're back live with us. And now in our hot seat, what do you have for us?
Well, first, thanks for your kind words about the song there. I appreciate it. Yeah. I don't know. I thought, one interesting thing about this album and me, although I, use the word interesting lightly because I don't know what anybody will actually find interesting. But I wrote most of the songs on this new album in Ecuador. Actually, I lived in Quito, Ecuador, for a year right after college. I was a volunteer teacher actually at like a community school for underserved and underprivileged communities in Quito. And it was a great experience, but I was working like a dog. It was long hours, long weeks, and I needed a creative outlet, and that's where a lot of these songs came from. One of the things that was holding me together the whole time was, the thought, I'm going to get back and going to make this great album with the band. It's going to be great to get back with the guys. And, you know, a lot of the lyrical themes on the album were inspired by my time there, you know. There's a song on the album called Love, Sin Amor Nada, and Sin Amor Nada in Spanish means without love, nothing. And I saw that graffitied on a wall on my commute to work one day. I thought, damn, what a great title for a song. How cool would that be? So I just, you know, had to write the song just based on that, you know. And I think you may pick up on a couple other South American influences if you really give the album a close listen. I think, you know, but more than that, it's shaped by a lot of the relationships I developed while I was down there, because, you know, when you're in a position like that, you really have a different look into a lot of humanity, you know, that you don't get in your bubble, you know, when you're home in Connecticut. And you know, I tried to be conscious of that while I was writing a lot of it too. You know, The Dogs of Quito is a song on the album that, you know, was inspired again by my time down there, and, you know, some of the people I met down there, and really a lot of the beautiful people, beautiful kids I met down there, great families.
Rob's a godfather now.
I am. So, you know, really inspired, you know, a lot of my, you know, my personal life and my emotional life really inspired my creative life in this, which I think was because it was also intense, sort of personally and emotionally, you know, doing that kind of work. And you know, I won't get into a ton of detail, but, you know, while I was down there, the you know, basically the foundation I was working for was going through a lot of changes, and, you know, it was a hard time for a lot of the families we were serving, and you know, being with them during that transition period was a really humbling experience, and, you know, really getting glimpses of relationships and humanity that you know, I had never experienced before. You know, all thanks to just on a whim deciding to check out what it might be like down there. You know, a couple of years back, and then committing to go down for a year. It was you know, ended up being a pretty interesting, pretty wild experience, and I'm still sort of reaping the benefits of it, you know, musically, emotionally, personally. You know, as I grow as a person, those experiences will be, you know, always with me, and I'll take them wherever I go.
Right on.
Let's hear a word of wisdom on the hot seat, Robbie. I mean, you on the hot seat, not me.
A word of wisdom. I don't know. I guess life is. I've realized this very much over the past couple of years. Life is such an individual journey, you know, and the relationships that we have, the ones that work, we're very lucky to have, and, you know, they deserve the care put into them that's necessary to maintain them. You know, but at the end of the day, life is a journey. Life's an individual journey, and all you can do at any given point when you're faced with a decision, or faced with an obstacle, or faced with any stress, is all you can do is your best, really, and make the best possible decision based on the data you have available. And, you know, it can be easy to get overwhelmed by that. You know, especially when, you know, in a field like music, for example, where professionally, you know, there's so much uncertainty, you know, but that's really like anything in life, you know, dealing with the uncertainty of life is very difficult. You know, and if you can, you know, sort of center yourself and remember, you know, that's all you can do, and that's all anybody can do, and there's nobody who's any better than that. You know, I think that's sentiment that has helped me a lot. And I heard a really great quote the other day from Stephen Colbert, actually. He was talking about despair and how does he stay positive, in light of all the craziness and bad stuff out there in the world. And, he deals with it head on, in comedy, obviously. But he said he feels like despair essentially is hubris, because it assumes you know what's going to happen, and that's never the case, or very rarely is that ever the case where, like, what's going to happen, anything can happen at any point, and your life can just go in a totally different direction than it was headed in an hour ago, and that could happen to any one of us at any given point. And, I try to keep that mentality when I feel myself getting too sucked into myself. I try to take a step back and take a deep breath and center myself with that.
Definitely.
I don't know if that still is your wisdom quotient there, Chris. But that's what I got at the moment.
Well, I put you on the hot seat. You're wiser than me.
I don't know about that. Well, I don't know. Maybe we could talk more about Mars. I'm definitely down to live on Mars, I think, at some point. I think.
Yeah, the talk about colonies has been lost over the times, but there is a floating space station up there, right?
Oh, yeah, the International Space Station. Well, and now, I mean, really, we don't have to get into the whole thing, but, like, it seems like every week there's a new report, coming out about ridiculous, catastrophic impacts of climate change and, how screwed we all are, essentially, So, like, I hope we can, get our act together and fix it, but, like, if we can't, that may have to be a serious option. So, I say go to Mars, explore it. Like, let's figure out, let's get our act together. Let's figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah. We got to get a handle on it.
Yeah.
So, guys, tell us a story, and then we'll let you go, about your very first performance as the Lionfish, how it all played out, the good, the bad, the ugly.
All right. So we kind of, as we were kind of figuring it all out, figuring out who we were going to play with, I mentioned a little bit before, it was kind of just a lot of, jamming and having fun in a storage closet somewhere. And we finally got out of the storage closet. We ended up getting S to play like the freshman, like a move-in, basically, at our school. It was a school, like, quad fest, I think they called it. And, they had, like food trucks and stuff out for people to kind of hang out and meet each other. And
I don't even know how we got booked for this thing. Like, we were literal nobodies, like, we were literally just, like, jamming in a closet because there was nowhere else for us to go. But
yeah. And so, we kind of put together our lineup and planned our set list, and we showed up the day before to start practicing. And we had our instruments and a bottle of rum, and we're like, all right, let's see what we can come up with. and we kind of figured out some songs we could play, or we thought we could play, and
we got through a decent amount of songs that we figured we could plan to play, and then the amount of rum in the bottle got less and less, and we got more and more ambitious as to what we thought we could do, and pull off with minimal rehearsal and a show the next day, and we were like, yeah, we'll be fine,
All it went well, though. It was a fun show, and most importantly, we had a great time and kind of just stuck with it,
Yeah.
It definitely was rooted in a bunch of guys having a good time. That's at the root. That's where it started.
Yeah, we got to the gig. It was outdoors. It was great. People were jamming. People were, having a good time out on the quad. We're calling out some of the chords on stage as we went for some of the songs that were a little hazier a little foggier in our memory. But, it all went pretty well. Surrounded by, newly moved in freshmen who couldn't quite handle their first nights at college, getting transported to the hospital every now and then. But, you know, by and large, a good time is had by all.
Right on. Right on.
Yeah.
Guys, let everybody know where they can connect with you online.
Yeah, our website is the-lionfish-band.com. And on Facebook, we are facebook.com/the-lionfish-band, or just at the Lionfish Band. And on Twitter and Instagram, we are at the-lionfish_.
You can also find all of our music, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, anywhere you could stream music. Go check
Google
it out.
Play, Amazon, yep. Anywhere you get your music.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're really proud of the album. We think people like it when they hear it, and we think people are going to continue to like it the more people hear it. So definitely go check it out. Tell us what you think. Drop us a line. We've got a contact page on our website. We'd love to hear from you.
Definitely. And guys, just in case you need those links, we have them in the show notes. So all you have to do is click those links, whether you're on iHeart, Radio, Spotify, Podcast Addict, iTunes, Google Podcasts, any of those great podcast platforms.
Great.
Those links are hyperlinks. So all you got to do is click the link. I did all the work for you. Just typed it out real nice and pretty and lined everything up.
You the man.
Yeah, all you got to do is click it. Appreciate that.
Or slam it. That's what's up.
Yeah, you guys have a nice night, man. I enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you very much. Likewise. Yeah. Thanks for having us.
No doubt.
All righty. Take care.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, my Vigilantes family, as always, for checking out my podcast over here at Vigilantes Radio. All episodes are available for free download, and you can grab that from either Spreaker.com/only1mediagroup, iTunes, YouTube, any app that's on a Google Play or iTunes store, or our website. And that goes from every single episode that we've ever aired. If you'd like to request music or a particular guest or send something for me to play, email it to vradio@only1mediagroup.com. If it's music, please label it by artist and title. Here's my disclaimer. We are genre free, we do not judge, and we absolutely do not base our opinions on hearsay, but facts alone. And actually, you can scratch all of that because all of my opinions are always right. That's the bottom line. This is my show, so deal with it. Nah, just kidding. On behalf of myself, Dini-Mussolini, I appreciate all you guys for tuning in, either afterwards or live with us. Spread the word because sharing is caring. We stepped up our game just for you guys and our guests to make sure that you have the best experience here on our show. Be sure to connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, as well as Spreaker. We always follow back. That is the number one rule. Okay, well, just remember to be yourself and be absolutely great at just doing that. Avoid being too comfortable because you're messing with your potential when you do that. Peace and have a good night.
You are now listening to Vigilantes Radio, the people's choice for quality interviews, art, music, and hot topics. Hosted by Demetrius Houdini Black Reynolds of the duo No Longer the Hero. All episodes of this podcast are available for free download at www.only1mediagroup.com. This is a Seventh Sign Regime Rebirth Worldwide Syndicate exclusive.